Straight to the top, never going down, don't wait for the drop. Never stand still, that's the motto. Yeah. Brand new bands for the auto. Foot to the ground, full throttle. Big energy for the night like lotto. Damn, y'all talk.
Hi, it's Amanda Nemec, and this is another episode of Dope Testimonies TV.
Full of songs, all of them bombs, something like a minefield guy. Boom.
What's up, world? It's your big bro at The Real Bob Jr. And sitting next to me is a very, very special guest. This is Amanda Nemec, and she has joined Dope Testimony TV. Amanda, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself and tell the people where you're from.
Hi everyone, my name is Amanda and I'm from Virginia originally, but I've lived in California now for almost 11 years.
Okay.
And we met, basically, I was discussing the universe with you.
Mm-hmm.
We crossed paths and realized it would be a great opportunity to talk about the work that I do and my background in the world of somatic therapy.
Mm-hmm. So, how'd you get into somatic therapy?
Yes, so somatic therapy means of the body.
Okay.
And the way that I got into it was I had been doing talk therapy for a bit, and I think it has its place. Like, it helps to get awareness about your patterns and to feel seen in a compassionate space. Mm-hmm. But I had something happen to me. I lost someone really close to me to suicide. And
sorry to hear that.
Oh, thank you. And in that experience, my body started having a lot of reactions around like panic attacks and feeling like here but not really here. And I didn't know what was going on, and as I was talking to my therapist, I kept telling her that I felt like out of my body, and I was like, this is weird, I'm grieving and I'm also not feeling like really here. And in that experience, she ended up referring me out to a somatic therapist, and thank God she did. When I first started doing the sessions, I really was like, this is trippy. Like, it's just a wild experience to really, we live in a neck up society, you know, like everyone is rewarded for being intelligent and doing things, but our body has been with us from day one. Yeah. And when you go through hard experiences, it's processing with the brain. So even though I was aware of the loss, my body was really freaking out as it was trying to grieve. So for me, somatic therapy it was first what helped me on my healing path. And then I found an incredible mentor and got into a program to study it. And it's a 3-year process, and now it's all I can talk about. Which is when I crossed paths with you, I was like yapping forever, because it's changed my life, and it brought me a higher quality of living that I wouldn't have had if I had just been talking about it but not actually feeling emotions in my body and moving through what I was holding.
Right. And it's thank God for your friend that recommended that for you, right? Because her recommending that took you on a different journey and to actually get healing to heal from that trauma, right? I guess my next question would be because you said something, you said how we live in a neck up society. It's about being intelligent, and we forget about our bodies, right? Everything below, because it all resonates, right? Is that how it works?
Yeah. So it's like a lot of people are talking about the nervous system, but if you think about it, we're all animals at the end of the day, and we have fight or flight responses. Or what happens is we accumulate a lot of these responses that aren't completed. But when you go through a traumatic experience, what happens is it kind of gets frozen in your body, and you can be aware that you're upset about something, but you might not realize that you're holding a lot of stress in your lungs or your heart space or in weird parts of your body that you wouldn't tie to it, but it's essentially stuck in your body, and somatic therapy helps to slowly release it in a safe way, because there's a lot of ways I think that some people go and I'm not shooting down any of like ayahuasca ceremonies, but they can be really intense, and somatic therapy is more like, let's take it in small chunks but break down the way that your body is processing this experience.
Okay. So what is the ayahuasca ceremony?
Yeah, so it's like a psychedelic experience that a lot of people go to for healing. Okay. And essentially what it does is it's an indigenous medicine, and people will take it and will have like a psychedelic experience that brings a lot of healing.
Okay.
And the thing about that is that, you know, you have to be a very grounded person before you go into those experiences. If you have trauma you haven't touched at all, it can really like blast it up too much. And it's just overwhelming for the body and the mind. And with somatic healing, in a way, it almost touches similar material, but it's in a way that's slower and more like present here. You're not taking anything. You're just simply working with a practitioner to sense, as you recall a traumatic memory, what is your body doing? And the body has a lot to say when you give it a chance. It's been with you since birth, even before like you came out of the womb. Your nervous system is mimicking what's going on with your mom. And so there's so much that begins and gets stored from the second a baby starts growing in the womb. So this work touches on even like pre-birth trauma to you know, really dangerous births and what happens to the baby, all the way to things like medical trauma and emotional trauma. And the way that the body stores it is beautiful in its own way, but somatic therapy is helping release what you no longer need to hold. We all have open loops from different life experiences, and somatic therapy essentially allows you to go in and close the loop that wasn't finished. Which is, it sounds like kind of out there to describe, but essentially it's just helping the body just wake up to what it was and let go of that energy from that stored pain. And as you do that, you have more energy, you sleep better, and you don't even need to talk the issue to death. You just essentially focus on how the body and the mind can become more integrated through the release of this pain. Let me ask you, how long has this been around, somatic therapy? I believe it's, I mean, this is the interesting thing. It was discovered in indigenous populations. And then a gentleman named Peter Levine worked with a group, I believe it was in South America, and then brought it back to the US and has been evangelizing it. And so I think it's been about 30 years in the US. But it started because tribes were using the same type of noticing, is what it is, where you're like, okay, recall this experience, now notice what's happening in your body as you talk about the loss. And normally what will happen is someone will feel tension somewhere, or they'll see an image, and the work of the practitioner is to help them gently trace around the trauma and then bring them back out of it, and then bring them back in a way that starts stretching your nervous system to have more capacity to release. So I always see it as a rubber band. The goal is to give you more capacity to feel the good and the bad. And before, it's like you don't even let yourself feel the bad because it's locked away in your body, but you have to release it in order to have more capacity to accept the good in life. So it's 30 years this has been around, and I never heard of it until we had the conversation. So my question is, like, we know about the talking therapy, right? Is there a reason why we don't hear about the somatic therapy, or I guess I'm asking, like, why don't you see that option just as much as you see the talking therapy, I should say? I think it's more of a training. Well, so there's a training process. It's quite extensive. It takes 3 years. But also I think people don't even know it exists, because when you think about therapy, everyone thinks of the mind and like sitting on a couch and talking to someone. But I would say like acupuncture, we were talking about holistic chiropractor. It's also kind of edging around the same thing of the body is so intelligent, and how do we keep our channels clear and our energy flowing? And this work is more integrated with the mind as well. But like traditional Chinese medicine has been around for forever. A lot of the practitioners that I work with are actually body workers, or they're therapists, or they're both. And so my work, and when we were talking about when we first chatted, is I want to help talk about it more, because it healed me from one of the deepest pains I can imagine. And now I have so much more energy to like enjoy my life and to feel positive and to know that I can get through anything now. And it came through the body, not talking about it per se. I had to feel everything that my body was storing, and I'm not sure why not that many people know about it, besides the fact that it takes a while to train into it. And then also I think insurance is still catching up with like the power of it, and they prefer certain other modalities that have been around for longer, but it's really incredible. And there does need to be more written papers about it. There is some research, but we were trying to get more out there as well, because the outcomes are profound.
Right. Okay, I guess, I mean, yeah, that's, I think, like when we were talking about it, and I was like, why isn't this out there? Like, people need to know about this, because, you know, when we were talking, we were talking about the talking therapy versus somatic therapy. What would you say the difference is, and like, which one do you believe is more beneficial?
So I think they both have their place in the sun. Like for me, talk therapy is like if you're just getting started on the journey of healing, you want to understand what patterns am I doing in my day-to-day life that's not serving me. I think the awareness is helpful.
Okay.
The issue is that you can understand a problem, but you might not know how to actually embody the change from how you don't want to be a certain way anymore. So for me, I think somatic therapy comes in when you could be very intellectual about knowing what your wounds are, but if you keep repeating the same patterns, it comes down to a nervous system that is programmed for either chaos or, you know, self-sabotage, and you have to get that down at a body level. It's more bottoms up, which I think is more effective, but I think the dream is to have both of them work together, but because sometimes it is helpful to have a compassionate witness, especially if you had wounds from parenting or just felt misunderstood in a certain way. But to actually release that stuck trauma from your body, it is the body work. Everyone says the body keeps the score. It's like, it's been clocking things since the second you were born. So it's like to give it space to actually feel safe and unwind is the work.
Okay. Would you mind sharing with us a little bit about your healing journey?
Oh my gosh, yes. So it's interesting. I wanted to be a physical therapist growing up. Okay. And then I couldn't afford grad school, so I went into business. Okay. But I was always interested in yoga and the body. And for me, it was like I started with doing the yoga practice, and I liked the way I felt after it, because it's like my mind was still. I always had like monkey mind where I was like, I couldn't turn it off. And so I was like, there's something here. This is like more powerful than sitting in therapy for an hour, but like I actually feel this on a whole body level. And then the person that I lost was my sister, and she had really difficult depression. And so over the course of my life, I took care of her and oversaw a lot of her experience on her healing journey. And so that just got me interested in learning all these modalities. And then when she passed away, it was like, I mean, it was a canon event for me. And not only did I, have to deal with the traumatic loss, it was also everything that I had been through that I hadn't processed flew up at the same time. So it was like I kind of was forced onto the path, but in a way it's like it showed me my truest self. And like I've done everything from, I've done Reiki, acupuncture, I've gone and done retreats. I went to the Hoffman process, which is like a 1-week leadership retreat where you really like deprogram the influence of your parents who did the best they could, but you might still be acting out patterns from childhood. And then ultimately found somatic therapy, which to me was when I started seeing more shifts on how I was embodying my truest self. So a lot of changes happen in this work, but what's cool is like when people start doing the work, they start like dressing brighter and like they're not afraid to be seen. They're not afraid to speak their truth. They feel safe in their body. Some people, if you ask them, what do you feel in your body? They might not feel anything. And so you want to hopefully be able to get them oriented where they can turn in and actually enjoy their felt sensations.
Okay.
And not feel scared and overly in their heads.
So that's what inspired you, I'm sure, to get in to this work. What made you realize trauma affects in the body and not just the mind?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so for me, I realized that I was going on a lot of walks to process my grief.
Okay.
And I would notice, for me, I felt like I was like almost like a balloon, like tethered, watching myself like walking, but I felt like I wasn't here. And I was like, what is this sensation? I didn't even know what the word was back in the day with what I was feeling. And then my therapist was like, oh, you're disassociating. And that means essentially your body doesn't feel safe, so you feel like really floaty. And it was just like a wild experience. And whenever I was driving, I guess I had relaxed enough that I would start getting panic attacks when I was driving. And I was like, what is the correlation with driving? And it was like I was relaxed enough to be paying attention to a task that my body was finally like, all right, let's flood some of the anxiety out of the body. So I was like, oh my God, why is this happening now? So I started having these disruptive moments in my life that were coming out of nowhere. And thank God my therapist at the time realized that like I was having full-on post-traumatic stress disorder is what it was. And I was having nightmares too about the experience. So it was just like, it was nothing I could outthink my way out of. And thank God, like the second I had my first session, I felt immediate relief. And there are aspects that sometimes it gets worse before it gets better, because you have to like touch into, painful memories. But then your system swings over to having more capacity for joy. And I call it post-traumatic growth now, where it's like, wow, I was having these physical sensations and just like crippling anxiety out of nowhere. And now it's like the vitality and like passion I have for life is like way higher than before the trauma. And so it's like there's something there around like the neuroplasticity of the mind and the body that are working with you as you do this work.
Okay. So when you initially went in to get the therapy, that it was mind therapy. It was talking, and then that therapist recommended the somatic therapy, where it's like to release in the body.
Yes.
Okay. And so that release, is it like breathing different? Is it like opening up? Like,
that's such a good question. So it's different for everybody, but for me, when I'm the practitioner, I'm tracking the person's nervous system, and usually people will do a clearing breath out of, like they'll hold their breath sometimes, and then they'll clear a breath, and that's their parasympathetic nervous system. Not to get nerdy, but it's like the calming nervous system comes online. And so you'll kind of track them as they're getting activated, and then their body kicks on to say like, let's cool it down. And so I've been trained to kind of watch the flow in a session and guide them to try different things to kind of allow the release to happen. So sometimes it's also yawning, and like your stomach will gurgle, because in your body you have a nerve that runs from like your ears to your tailbone, and it's called the vagus nerve. And once it starts relaxing, you'll kind of notice like the axis of the body will start relaxing, and that's why people are like, oh, I'm burping. And I'm like, burps are good. It means that your body is like relaxing enough to let that stored memory and pain leave.
Really?
And sometimes people get really hot because when you release trauma, sometimes it has an energetic charge. They'll get like heated and sweat for a second, and then it'll go away. But it's such a physical experience. And then sometimes their body will have a spontaneous movement that doesn't make sense, but it's actually like your arm might do something weird, but it's because if you were in a car accident, you didn't get to like complete the like bracing of oh, I'm getting hit. Like, so they might like start doing things, and you're like, okay, now that they feel safe, their nervous system is registering like, okay, I can complete the loop. And so the body is so intelligent that there's movement, there's energy, there's breathing, but it's unprompted. Like the body naturally knows what it needs to heal. It just has to feel safe with someone and touch into it just enough to allow the responses to kick in. So that's what my work is knowing the techniques to guide someone as they're recounting something. Without even needing to tell the story in detail, it's just the headline. And then as they recall it, the body remembers and it starts trying to close the loop.
So the body has a memory. But I love hearing this though, because it's like the information. This is something that people should know. It's so they can, because I'm sure somebody could be or is watching this. And they're like, I've talked about this many times, but my body still feels, I still feel, right? Because it's a feeling. The body is the feeling. So that could be what it is, where it's just like, hey, it's the nervous system. So this nervous system. I want to dive a little more into the nervous system to get a real understanding. So right now, like I'm okay. You know, but if something was to happen, what happens to my nervous system that makes me go through the trauma and those things? Like, what is that about?
It's interesting. Everybody responds differently. So there's 4 responses. Everybody like kind of talks about like, oh, I was in fight or flight mode, which is like you either fight someone or you flee the scene. You know, like if there's a fight that's breaking out, we are animals at the end of the day, and you see this in the wild. Like some animals will book it or they'll turn around to protect themselves. Fawn is a response where like animals will appease their predator to try to like not die essentially. And then freeze is when some like animals will go catatonic and they'll just won't move at all and play dead. And so we have those 4 responses as well. So it depends on your conditioning and your upbringing and what could have been in your own body, that when you register a threat, like a car honking a horn, if you had gotten into like a traumatic car accident, when you hear that, you might flinch harder than someone that's like not as sensitive or hadn't had that experience. But what's cool is that there are some pretty uniform responses, but unfortunately because of trauma, sometimes the responses will be bigger than what the event is, because the person still thinks that it's like a threat. So it's important to understand someone's background as well. This work is like very sensitive, and you have to do it with integrity because nervous systems are extremely sensitive. And so these responses, like, we heard someone pull a chair out and you kind of like,
I'm like, what is that?
Like, what is that? That's the same thing an animal does in the wild, and that's like a flight response, when you turn away. But these little moments don't need to be discharged per se. It's the big ones that are holding your nervous system hostage essentially. You shared losing someone to suicide. Your sister changed your life. And can you talk about that experience? The grief affect you emotionally and physically? You mind sharing? I felt like I was, for a short period of time, highly present to everything. Like it woke me up in a way that was so jarring that I was just like, you would think that I was in a fog, but I actually was like highly activated is what I'll call it. Where I remember like going to the park with my nephew, and I was just like looking at the trees and the flowers, and I was just like, oh my God, like life is so short. This is like my worst nightmare at the same time. So it was just like, I was just so like, my eyes were like wide open, and what was difficult for me is that a lot of my emotions hit later. So what's common with PTSD is sometimes you'll survive the moment, but your body starts holding the emotions to protect you, because it knows that if you felt it all at once, you would like be absolutely like debilitated. So that's why I started having these physical symptoms show up like a few months after. But emotionally, it was like, I think I was awoken, I'll just call it, but I was still like boxing away the hardest feelings about the experience. And it took a lot of therapy and a lot of somatic work for me to actually touch the grief. The grief was like a big scary red box for me, where I was like, oh my God, if I actually feel this pain, I'll get swept away. And luckily with somatic work, what you do with anything with somatic work is you do titration, where you touch it in little bits. because if I was to sit there and go straight into it, I would just be so overstimulated and like triggered.
Okay.
So emotionally, it was like the hardest thing I've ever been through. But it also woke me up to the other side of emotions in life that I don't think I had really spent time with. You know, it's like sadness, you know, frustration, anger over losing someone that you love so early.
Yeah.
And in a way, I was forced to reckon with this other spectrum of emotions that I wasn't really allowing myself to feel, I think, in my own day-to-day life. So in a way, I got to experience like the full spectrum of being human really in a short amount of time. And physically, I just have always just been shocked at like what my body was able to hold.
Yeah.
And then I know now that like my panic attacks were just my body trying to let the alarm system go off because it knew that I was high functioning and like still doing things, but there was a disconnect between actually feeling all of the emotions underneath that type of loss. So it was a lot of feelings and a lot of physical symptoms, but they came later. And I think that that's something too, I don't think we as a society buffer that in for loss. Like as a society, everyone's afraid of dying and death. Like nobody talks about it. And like it's the ultimate equalizer. We're all gonna die. And so it's like, I also am okay with like thinking about that often now because of that loss, that it makes me live more in the present and more with more vitality because I've greeted it so upfront, you know. It wasn't like, it was such like a groundbreaking trauma for me that like now I don't feel afraid of a lot of things because I feel like I already experienced something so difficult that I'm like, my resilience has also gone up to like little things where I'm like, I don't really care because I feel like I've survived a very painful loss that now I just want to be able to share my journey in a way and share the medicine that helped bring me back to life, you know, because I think with grieving and trauma, it will really take a hit on your quality of life and the way you view the whole world. So I'm so grateful that I found work that got down into the nitty gritty and safety. So the word is flying around a little bit, somatic, but like you really need a practitioner that like cares to not injure you and knows the guardrails of the work because trauma is such a sensitive experience for anybody. And like, I didn't even realize all the different ways it could be showing up in people's lives until I went through these trainings that have taught me like how to handle so many different experiences that could be difficult. So it's a lot.
Well, you really are doing. It sounds like you're walking in. Well, you are walking in your calling.
Yeah.
You know, because now you're healing the world. You've taken what you've experienced and you've used that to heal the world. Just being on just being here right now, it's like you're doing God's work. So that's
thank you.
That's amazing.
It feels like it is definitely a calling and more than work to me now. And so that reframe is like, I could talk about this all day, and I'm so dedicated to the work because of the lived experience. And I also wish my sister would have had access to somatic therapy or even known it existed. And I didn't find out about it until I was literally referred out. But I think about all the people in the world that are struggling, that if they feel like therapy's not working, they don't realize there's another way to approach it. So that's my big thing now, is I don't want to miss that opportunity to spread the awareness, to work with people that don't feel like they could ever heal.
Absolutely.
The body is so able to heal. It's so powerful, and you just need to be under the right support to unlock it.
You said something that stuck out to me. You had panic attacks. And so where do panic attacks come from? Like, is it from holding everything in, not talking about it? Or is it nervous system?
All the above.
Okay.
No, but it really is like, for me, I hid a lot of my grief and pain.
Okay.
So, after you lose somebody to suicide, there's a lot of support in the beginning, and then everyone moves on with their life. And I also had to do a lot of the arrangements, and you know, I kind of boxed away the pain, and my body was trying to wake me up to say, hey, there's stuff here that is not like, there's a lot going on. For me, I view panic attacks as like the alarm bell ringing underneath, where the body doesn't feel safe. And I don't think my body felt safe to hold all of the pain that I had been, you know, my mind was like kind of boxing it out, but my body was feeling it. So I had to bridge the two with therapy that was working on the body. And then,
it's a lot.
It's a lot. Panic attacks are the worst. It's like a fish out of water, and you think you're dying in the moment. Like it's just, it literally feels like you're having a mini heart attack, and the fact I was getting them when I was driving was the worst, because I would have to pull over and like try to breathe. And I was seeing an acupuncturist at the time, and she would help me. That is also another like key ingredient, I think, is the needles they put in you to like open your channels and get energy flowing. I think they work, somatic work and acupuncture work really well together, because especially if you're going through grief, you hold a lot of it in your lungs, and it's just the way that your body typically will hold sadness. So I was also getting a lot of sickness in my like chest colds, and somatically we believe that it is like tied to emotional issues, and you'll kind of keep getting sick in a certain area.
I think so many people suffer in silence.
Shame. I mean, I can speak for myself that I didn't want people to see me sad. I was always known as the one that was like, you know, happy-go-lucky. I'm a natural optimist. That when I went through something that was so debilitating, I think I was still grappling with the identity of somebody that didn't show that to the world. And I think that people feel like they're a burden when they actually express sadness, and they're afraid to ask for help. And it's actually the bravest thing you could ever do. We're not mind readers, and we never really know what's going on. So I think people suffer in silence because they don't want to be viewed as weak. And I think that real strength comes with being vulnerable and human. And there's no way we're not going to experience sadness or anger or depression.
What message do you have for people silently dealing with depression or emotional pain?
Oh my gosh. So I think the number one thing to get over is the silence. Like, silence never helps. We're relational creatures. Humans want to connect. We used to be in tribes, and now we're in little boxes in our houses. And people are really disconnected from each other right now. And I would just say, like, some of my most healing moments, I mean, I can talk about this therapy, but it has been my friends that have like made me laugh my butt off, and like made me not feel alone. And that was like one of the biggest healing experiences, especially with grief, is you feel so alone, especially if it's traumatic grief. And so I would say just like try your best to call somebody. You don't have to hide this pain. Like, you would be shocked at how many people are suffering and you would have no idea. I think I would count myself as one of those people. I was high functioning is what they say. Like, I was so social. I was planning dinner parties. I was doing all these things, and then, you know, I'd go home and I would just have this crushing grief and pain. And I suffered in silence for so long that my body started just acting up because I wasn't listening to myself. And so
how long was this going on, do you think?
It was about 4 months, until finally it was pretty unbearable for me to be able to carry out my day-to-day without just saying I need help. Like, this is not it. And I wish I had like not had the idea in my head that it was shameful to show that pain, but I blame societal conditioning and like not being really in touch with my emotions around that were on the negative side, which they're not negative, they're all like valid if you think about it. It's like, it would be weird if I wasn't sad, it'd be weird if I wasn't angry. We all deserve to feel the full spectrum without shame.
Absolutely. Why do you think society is like that? Why is it like taught to like just hold everything in and be a robot, you know? Where does it come from?
Like, it's the patriarchy and capitalism. I will always go down. But I do feel like it's unfortunately been taught that like emotion is weakness, sensitivity is weakness, and the reality is like, I think it shows such strength to be in touch with your emotions and actually express them.
Right.
We get rewarded for being stoic and bulldozing through life and checking boxes and getting money, and it's like, so people associate their value with that instead of realizing that like they're worthy for just being here on this planet and like being alive. And I think that that's not shared enough. That messaging is nowhere to be found unless you find sources within religion or God or a purpose bigger than yourself.
I agree. Why do you think so many people suffer in silence?
Oh my gosh, okay, so people suffer in silence because they feel shame around their feelings. And I think when people are suffering, they're afraid that if they open up, somebody will feel like they're a burden. And the reality is like most humans want to help, and it's actually very admirable to be vulnerable. And they suffer in silence because they're afraid if they actually ask for help, it could be because of their upbringing. Maybe they never received the attunement they needed. Attunement is like one of the most beautiful things you can offer someone, is to pay attention to how they're feeling and to care about it. And unfortunately, I think a lot of our parents were dealing with stress or different factors where they were just making ends meet. They weren't able to be emotionally attuned to children. And I'm hopeful for a society that can get there more, but you need to have the resources and the financials and the house and all the things that sometimes that attunement, it's a stressed out parent that can't also deal with the tantrum. And so it goes all the way back to a fear of being too much or never having that care that you deserved when you were sad as a kid. And it's unfortunate, but shame is a big driver, and shame is like an emotion that's like a cloak. Once you have it, you won't really move or show yourself. So it's unfortunate.
You know, I'm listening to you, and it's resonating with me because it's making me think about a time back where I grew up. You know, I grew up in a urban community, the hood per se, right? And we were taught to mask all the feelings, show no emotions, no crying, none of that. Be men, be stand up all the time. And when I think about that, when I think back about that, I was like, it's kind of crazy, you know? Because it's like you should be able to share how you feel. It's like it shouldn't be looked at as being soft for being in touch with your feelings and your emotions, right? Because if you build this habit up of masking that, you get to this point where it can just all, you have a panic attack, or it all comes out at once, and that's not good.
And it comes out at your partner, at work, and like your friends, and also it's like the socio-cultural factors are so important. Like growing up in a neighborhood where it was rough, or you didn't have the resources like I was mentioning before, that's its own trauma, and it needs to be held in a way that's different from someone that had privilege. And so I think there's a whole body of work around that, you know, to be able to not have that same lived experience, but understand like that's a hard lived truth. And there's a lot of resilience that comes from that, and it's also crappy at the same time. And so I think that having that lens is so important when working with clients, because the roots of where you grew up and what you were taught and the programming you received is what really creates your reality, unless you deprogram yourself. And that requires resources like therapy and healing relationships that can remind you that you are deserving of care and attunement and love. And I'm hopeful that is shifting. I feel like people are having an awareness that there's a different way to be.
I agree.
It just requires finding either your own sense of doing it through passions or whatever, or it's finding someone to work with. And I'm hopeful that we can get more of this therapy out there, because I'm like, I can't wait. And I've crossed the paths with amazing healers in this space that are like specializing in incredible either populations or different traumas, and creatively too. Like there's somatic sound healing, there's like people that do like it out in nature and will only take clients outside on walks and then they'll do the therapy. Like it's just, you can get so creative with it because it's so body based.
Right.
Which means it should be more accessible to people too, you know?
I like that. So because so there's no one formula. You come up with your, you know, there's different formulas.
Yeah.
People do what works for them just to, you know, for their patients, and you know, I think that's
cool.
Yeah. All right, so let's see. What are some signs people are carrying trauma in their bodies without knowing it?
Yes, great question. So if they have like a startle response to things that are like, you know, you're opening a door and it's kind of exaggerated, that's a sign that, okay, there's maybe something underneath. Addictions can be a sign of trauma as well. It means that your body is brilliantly reaching for something that will actually help numb you a little bit or elevate you because inside it feels a little bit off.
What kind of addictions?
Every addiction.
Every addiction.
Yeah. So whenever you're reaching for something to distract yourself, it's normally because your body feels uncomfortable. And so if you're compulsively using or reaching for something that's having a negative impact on your attention or your body or something else, that's usually a nervous system response where it's feeling startled by something and it wants to soothe itself. And the reality is that that's intelligent because it's reaching for something to help it, right? But if it's causing a negative impact in your life, that could be because there's pain underneath that wasn't completed in the loop of healing. Additionally, I would say like not being able to sleep well, it's very common for people, but sometimes the body has a hard time resting at night because it's been on edge for so long, and so if it's hypervigilant, that resting feels uncomfortable. It's because the body is so used to being in fight or flight mode and go, and you'd be surprised how many people channel that into work instead of actually seeing what happened at the root level. And some of it is like childhood trauma with like just parenting, like if you didn't feel loved or a parent left, you might compulsively, you know, date certain people. I mean, it can show up in so many different ways, but in the body, it's like reaching for something outside of yourself to complete you compulsively is typically a sign that something's unresolved. And also, like, if people have gotten into a car accident, there tends to be a whole slew of physical symptoms after, as well as like a medical trauma. If you get surgery on something and you're having weird, funky things, you can have medical trauma in your body. So like that's a little bit more pinpointed, but it's a bracing, like a over-startled bracing response from like loud noises, as well as just like avoidant behavior too, I would say. That's what my experience was. Like I would avoid certain streets or memories that would take me back to my sister because it was like I would just spiral down. We call the trauma vortex. Yeah, so it can. There's so many different ways it can manifest. But normally, like a good therapist will be able to point that, okay, there's something here that we need to dig into.
Can stress and emotional pain actually make people physically sick?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So, number one, like stress is the number one killer. When you're stressed out, your cortisol goes up. Your nervous system is in an activated mode of always scanning for threats because your cortisol just jacks all the way up. It's like having like 3 coffees in the morning, and that could be like workplace stress and you don't realize it, but it absolutely makes you sick. And in traditional Chinese medicine, they're very aware that, like, you know, they pinpoint needles in your body to reach certain organs because they know how correlated it is, where it's like if you have, you know, a lot of stress in your shoulders, you're taking on too many responsibilities. It's like literally manifest that cleanly around, like, you know, carrying something heavy. It means like you need to lessen your grasp on what you're trying to achieve. So it definitely can make you sick. And what's interesting is a lot of people's health issues go away when they do somatic therapy because their body was just talking to them, being like, hey, there's something wrong here.
Hi,
hello, pay attention to me.
It's
it's so smart. It's trying to talk to you. And sometimes it's emotional pain. I'd say like 99% of it's emotional, but if you've had like physical trauma with like car accident or like a skiing accident, like you'd be surprised how much the body can still brace. Like if they're getting a massage or like riding a bike, they might still be like, this is a weird response to things. It's because something didn't complete.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
And it can just be that like physical where it's like, oh, this was because of that accident, you know?
Okay. So it made me think. So if the body is saying this is not complete,
Yeah.
what is something that you do to is
complete
the
it.
somatic therapy is what completes it?
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
What does a dysregulated nervous system feel like?
Oh my gosh, I'd say 90% of America, like most people have it. It's like you can never rest.
Yeah.
And or it could be somebody that like can't even get out of bed. It's because their body's in freeze mode and it's trying to conserve energy. And so I think those are like the key signs. But people that like can't be alone, it's because they're like, you know, I need to like distract myself with somebody else. It can just this feeling of anxiety that's never going away. So many people in this current world and the state that we're in have that experience. And it's just unfortunate because most people throw medication at you and to try and treat the symptoms, but it's like you got to get to the cause.
Right.
A lot of that is due to trauma or even just lifestyle factors of potentially being in like a tough neighborhood or having a rough family system. Our bodies are trying to protect us, so they ramp up these activity level to kind of distract us from what's going on.
What about working too much? Like working too many hours to pay the bills, and because you know things is getting more expensive. Like,
I mean, it's very common. It's a hard line around like how do you chase your passions and also rest.
Right.
And I think that, you know, if you're working and the other buckets of your life are falling down and getting worse, that's when you know there's like, wait, what am I doing this for? A lot of high achievers actually have a lot of trauma. And unfortunately, or fortunately, it's made them very resilient and successful because they like kind of go.
Right.
But the body takes the toll later. They might develop illnesses, serious illnesses that are like, I don't know what's going on, and it's because their body couldn't get their attention unless they had done that. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can see that because there's people like so when I was working in the music space, right, doing the music, I was around people that wouldn't sleep. You know, go, work all the time, don't sleep, and they're doing things to try to stay up and keep going.
Yep.
But later on, that takes a toll on the body, you know, which then it affects the mind, and then that's, you know, so that's a form of trauma when you living like that.
Yeah, and I would say too, it's like we always assume we'll just grind now and then chill later.
Yeah.
Later might not come, and your body has to metabolize that somehow, so it stores it most of the time, unless you like really have ways of moving it out of your body. I mean, yoga to me is really helpful to like kind of clear things, but I'm not going to yoga to deal with like grief from suicide. You know what I mean? Like that's like kind of my maintenance activity, but like that requires deeper work. But it's for me like there's complementary things that you can do to help those types of things. But yeah, I think it's just it's difficult and requires being matched up with the right care to really let this stuff go.
How can someone begin healing if they don't know where to start?
That's great. Great question. I would say I would try and get quiet with yourself and think about the moments where you find yourself in a flow state and first start there to like, how do I build in a little bit of that? And the reason why I bring that up is that you need to build a lifestyle for healing way more than these like other different ways of getting help. But I think when you start kind of paying attention inside, it's called interoception. And getting quiet, you give yourself the time to actually hear what your body wants. And even just starting and being like, what does my body need today? You can begin renegotiating the relationship you have with yourself. And I would say like, start with the joy and writing and getting really clear on what brings you joy, because when you do activities that you love and that gets you into this childlike, you know, play mode, you're actually healing yourself. And not out of escapism or hedonism, but like that is a part of the package. And I would say, you know, YouTube, like, look into somatic therapy, start there. And if you can get access to one, which a lot of insurance companies are now starting to cover it, but like, I would just say, like, kind of start dabbling in that. Like, it's always a self-practice first. To kind of get curious about what's going on inside, and then finding the complementary support outside of it. And I'm just really big on people building lifestyles that can allow you to hold joy. Some bodies are so used to chaos and pain that even thinking about what it could be like to be happy is threatening. And so that's why building in those little moments, whether it's like getting a coffee or going for a walk, and just giving yourself that medicine will kind of start the process of like, I deserve to have a life that feels good. And then as you seek out the right support, they can work with you to, you know, think about how the good feels in your body, and then start kind of chipping away at some of the other stuff that might be impacting you in negative ways that you don't realize.
There's so many benefits to going places where it's quiet, peace, and get in touch with yourself and listen to your body, and just, you know, just so much healing in that. Because even me starting this journey came from me getting away from everybody, you know, where I just went in silence, peace. That's when I really started to, you know, just get that connection. Or what is my purpose? What am I here to do? You know?
Oh my God, I think creative pursuits are more healing than anything else. Like, I started writing poetry on my healing journey. And that has been my creative expression. That, you know, when I'm sad, I'm angry, I also write. And that's what I want to hopefully work with my clients on now, is like, yes, we'll do the body, but how do you actually express yourself? And that's not always going to be like painting on paper. It could be like a creative pursuit that, you know, you're doing media. But when I'm doing media, I'm so locked in that, like, I forget what time it is. That is like the juice of living that I think is so important, as well as doing the hard work of going down, you know, into the self.
It's funny that you say that, because a lot of my music that I was doing was therapeutic. It would be, I would go and release on a microphone. Things that I wouldn't share with people. I wouldn't say anything about what I'm feeling. I'll go into the booth, and that was my way of releasing everything. And it helped me. It was therapeutic for me. It helped me get through. So the fact that you say, like, I believe it plays a big role.
I mean, music is so healing. Like, one of the practitioners I worked with, she does somatic healing bowls. And so she would, like, you know, bring them in, and then I would sing back to her. And then we would notice what would happen after I sang. Because that's a big part of somatic work, is you will do something and then pause, and that space gives your body the chance to unravel. But the noise of these bowls and singing cracks you open in a way that you're like, this doesn't make sense, but it's working. And I love doing sessions with her, and then I also work with my main therapist, Peter. But it's like, the way people have used art in this work is what I'm really excited about, because I didn't realize you can incorporate sound in, but it's like, how does sound resonate with your body and what comes up from there. And so I just think anyone's expression is beautiful, and like singing and getting out, you never know who you're helping and doing I think like one of the most healing things is witnessing someone in their expression, because then it's like, oh, I can be myself without, you know, hiding all the parts that aren't, you know, perfect.
Absolutely.
We live in a society where everybody wants you to be freaking perfect.
Right.
Perfection is boring.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so boring.
It is.
Like, I love like the realness of people, and that comes through in my sessions when I work with folks, that like the authentic self is always there. It's just dressed up underneath all of the things we've been holding. You know?
One of the things that I went through in life, also when I was doing music, I was always trying to be something, to be somebody else, be what I thought people wanted me to be.
Yeah.
The music didn't start to catch and resonate with people until I decided to be my true self, my authentic self, my imperfections, whatever it was. This is me. That's what connected. So it's power in just being yourself and being real to who you are that we don't realize. And it's not, talked about, it's not pushed in society, I should say.
Yes, we're taught to hide
it's taught
it.
to hide who you truly are. You know, don't be different. You know, don't be this way. Be, you know, want everybody to be in this box and this.
Yeah.
It's like you say, it's boring. It's so weird. So
and
crazy.
it's like authenticity sounds different and it looks different. And as even just being beings, we can tell when someone's bullshitting.
Right.
It's very, you can smell bullshit pretty well as a human, because it's almost like a safety mechanism where you're like, this isn't real.
Yeah.
We have that inherent intuition, but to your point, like authenticity isn't taught, and it's actually like to remember your true self is the whole point of being here, and to express it. And sometimes expression is unsafe in the body, so that's something I'm working with folks too, is like, how can you slowly build a person up to wanting to express themselves and dress the way they want to dress and do their dream job without the fear of being rejected, or like that they're gonna die if they do, because that's what the body thinks sometimes. It's like, if I'm fully seen, like someone out in nature, like an animal, it's like that's actually really exposing. I could die because I'm like too visible, but that's because of trauma. It's like we all should be expressed, and that's what art does, and music.
Let's talk about the somatic therapy a little bit. What happens during somatic therapy?
Yes, so I'll tell you from a practitioner's lens, and then from the receiver.
Okay.
So what I normally do is I like to ground the person in something that's going well for themselves.
Okay.
And we call that a resource, so that once we get into the nitty-gritty, I can still remind them of that good feeling in their body in session, so they don't get stuck in what we call this trauma vortex. And that means that the body almost thinks it's still happening, like in that very second, and they're unsafe.
Okay.
So what I will normally do is I would say, like, you know, tell me something good that happened today. And the client starts talking, and then I interrupt them and say, okay, notice what's going on in your body as you talk about like that delicious latte you had this morning. And so many people don't pause, because we're so focused on looking out in the world, right? Like validation and like creating things that, you know, will get me money or whatever. And it's like, interoception means to look in, and when they actually notice, like, oh, when I think about that warm latte, like my heart feels warm. And so I have them sit in that feeling for a little bit, and then they might like release their shoulders and yawn, and that typically means that the nervous system is switching into healing mode.
Okay.
And they might have been like rushing to get to the appointment, you know.
Right.
But that gives them a moment of pause, and then the system starts being like, oh, I'm safe, and then they'll relax, and they might start doing spontaneous movements.
Okay.
And then depending on what they're coming to talk to me about, sometimes sessions start one way and they end a totally different way, but it's what the body needs in the moment. So we honor that. But then next I would mention like what's something that's like mildly activating, and it's usually around work, relationships, just something that's, you know, a big decision they have to make. And then as we touch into that, I will pendulate between the two. So that means essentially swinging back to the feeling that's, you know, maybe I have anxiety about work. Okay, can you open your eyes and think about that latte that you had this morning? And what I'm doing with them essentially is stretching their nervous system. And that pendulation is normally, we'll go back, and then we'll go hang out with the good, and then we'll go hang out with the bad.
Okay.
And what happens during that is that when the energy releases start happening, like the burping and then like sometimes people giggle, like it's just things that they hadn't gotten a chance to do. And then I will reorient them. I mean, goes on for like 45 minutes. Like I'm watching and I'm making sure that they don't get overwhelmed, but I'm stretching it like a rubber band, the good, the bad, the good, the bad, and then normally that's when the release happens.
Okay.
And then some clients just need to hang out in the good, because I know their background, and they're like really starting to just touch into positive joy in their lives. So like I'm trying to get them to get used to feeling that in their system.
Yeah. How is somatic healing different from traditional therapy?
So the talk therapy is mostly like, tell me what happened and why are you stressed out? And there's a lot of the intellect, the mind being used. When I notice a client will be talking too much about something, I'm trying to get them to feel what's underneath here. And sensations also happen in some facial expressions I'm watching and tracking too.
Okay.
But what's different is that I'm trying to give the client space to feel and track in their body where they're holding their stress. And if they're only doing talk therapy, it's just logic, like compassion, yes, but it's like trying to like think your way out of the issue, which for most people doesn't always work because you leave that session and your body's still like in fight or flight mode or like grind or whatever, nothing safe or blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And somatic therapy is essentially like, how do you feel about it? And can you notice that sensation and see what happens next?
Okay.
And in giving somebody that space, the body will start releasing what it needs to release because it's finally being paid attention to. We don't pay attention enough to, most people look at their body and they're like, I wish it was this. It's so negative. This is like, let me give my body what it needs, which is space to feel. And so that's the difference, is it's more felt sensations, images, and behavior and action and movement versus the static sitting in therapy of like, my dad messed me up, you know? It's different.
Is there a way to give our bodies gratitude? Like
oh yeah.
Like how does that work? Well, besides the somatic therapy, how else can we give our bodies gratitude?
So I think that's actually something I will also start sessions with. If someone didn't have something good that happened that day, I'll say, can you tell me something that you're grateful for in this moment? It's a very present moment, you know? And the sensations that come from that are usually like in the heart space. Like someone will be like, oh, I feel warmth here. Gratitude is literally thanking your body for, like, you can also just say like, thank you for keeping me alive. Like our heart beats from like day one till the end. And we don't even think like, heart, thank you for beating essentially. Thank you for keeping me alive. So you can literally just like in the morning, I call it havening. It's like you just like trace the edges of your arms and your body and you feel your body and you're just like, this is mine. And you're saying, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe. And it just brings your attention to your body and you can thank it for like waking you up to another day. But the dialogue also, as you do this work, you start having conversations more with your body where you're like, what do you need? Like, oh, you're just tired. It's like this whole thing you didn't even realize was like with you the whole time, you know? But gratitude is so important and the body loves that feeling of just like, oh, you appreciate me, because it's always trying to protect you and give you what you need.
But I think you just kind of explained, you said this is one of them.
This one.
Is there anything else?
So shaking. If you in the morning like get out of bed and you just immediately start shaking, it's one of the coolest things you can do. It's so easy, doesn't cost anything, but it kind of just gets you awake, and it's also just like gets the body and the energy moving. And if you are feeling very anxious or about to have a panic attack, or like that energy just needs to move. And so like working out is great, but like shaking primally and just like messily, like you don't care if it looks clean, that tells the body that it's safe, that like, okay, I can take up space and I can like let this out. And just dancing, like it sounds silly, but like just putting on good high beat music and dancing and like flicking your wrists and getting anything out, like your body needs to move the emotions out of your body. These are so easy, and that's the thing, is like it looks kind of crazy, but like it's actually, if you danced every morning, you would never be sad. Because you can't technically be sad and dance at the same time. Like it's really hard for the body to do that, you know? That's why
the dancing singers be so happy and smile all the time. Choreographers,
especially like the background singers, I'm like, they're not
very high energy. They like, you feel their energy when they come in a room. Like, that's funny. My fiance is gonna love this, because she just started this thing where, you know, the Michael Jackson movie come out. Did you see it?
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, it's a great movie. It's good. Great. It's a great movie. You should see it. Check it out. But she has this thing where she's been dancing to Michael Jackson. Like, I come in the house one day and she's just dancing to Michael Jackson's video.
Oh my God, I love it.
But she felt so good after doing it. She's like, I'm gonna start doing this more. I said, you should. You should, because I can see your energy is just, you know, glowing and you seem happy. So I'm a person, I say, do what makes you feel good. What's one misconception that you would say people have about healing work?
I think people think it doesn't have to be fun, or it's impossible for it to be fun. I actually like think it can be. Like when humor arises in sessions, which it does, like I roll with it, and I think that people assume that it has to be so serious all the time. And I think when you talk about it like scientifically in the physiology, yes, it's hard to not be serious, but like the reality is like it can be fun, and it's like when you go through the hard stuff through healing, like you're giving yourself more opportunity to have joy. And I think people just see it as like, I don't want to deal with that. I'm just going to, you know, numb out or put my blinders up. But you're missing this other way of being where you're going to have more life force energy and like have the energy to do the things you love. And it doesn't need to be so like painful or boring or judgy. It can be really fun.
Okay.
So I've had like some hilarious conversations with my therapist where like the stuff that comes up I'm giggling at and so is he, and we're just still rocking with it. And that's like, I would prefer that style of work rather than being like overly stoic about it, you know?
What would you say to someone skeptical about holistic healing?
I would say like the body is a system, and I would just look to other forms of cultures that have been doing this now. Like there was a recent article that came out last week about like proof of the body having a biofield around it because of acupuncture, and they've done enough research on it. I think you just need to literally look into research, like because I am like studying this stuff, I know that other cultures kind of map the body already, and they're living their medical systems through that. The West is behind. I mean, it's like we're incorporating some of it, but we're still like not fully bought in. And I would say just start, like I would start with acupuncture, I would start with a yoga class, like those are like the gateway drugs. And then just thinking about what do you have to lose if you try it, right? It doesn't work for you, like you'd be shocked at some of the experiences you can get from trying something that lets the body relax. I trust those systems more because they're older and they're like kind of similar between like Eastern medicine and like Ayurvedic, and like all of those are still talking about the same body chakra systems and meridians, and it's pretty proof in the work, you know. And I would say I feel like to me somatic therapy is physiological and nervous system based, but there's parts of it where I'm like, this is so integrated, like the mind and the body are trying to talk to each other, but we have to wake up the body first. And so I think that if you can heal from like PTSD, you can heal from anything. So I believe that's a case in and of itself of neuroplasticity and ways of exploring other modalities that are not going to be just a medication and, you know, avoid this for the rest of your life. You know?
What do you think people are emotionally starving for right now?
Connection. I would say it's twofold. It's connection to themselves and it's connection to others. So if you feel disconnected to your body, you're going to have a harder time authentically connecting to others because you don't know what's yours versus theirs. You might be expecting them to fill a void within you. You might feel self-conscious because you don't feel confident in your own body. And I think that society has made us so fragmented from each other and the ways we work, the way we work out, and everything is in boxes now, and we have social media running in the background of like comparison engines. So I think we have a lot more work to do around and also expression and rewarding that. If society doesn't see expression as being valuable, people will continue to do jobs they hate because they just don't feel secure enough and are always chasing money, you know? The grind.
You know, you said something, you mentioned social media. Now you had some experience because you've worked worked at Meta. And so let me ask you, like, working at Meta, did you see things that stood out to you that was like, this is kind of changing society in a way, and you know, good or bad? Like, did you recognize it?
Yourself? Like, I mean, I appreciate the mission of wanting to connect people. I think just at a high level, social media creates this comparison loop and this filtered life of, let me show you the highlight reel. And working in that space for a while, it's like, you know, I worked with a lot of brilliant people, but it got to a point where many of us were still there because of the security it gave us versus the passion for connecting people, because you get to a point where it's not exactly like, you know, your dream job of like fulfilling what your soul's here to do. You know, like corporate jobs, usually don't fulfill that.
Yeah.
But I would say, yeah, I think it gave me a lens where, I have a nephew and he's like, he's 9. He loves looking at like, my brother's Instagram and like scrolling. And I think that's what freaks me out the most is like seeing the impact on younger generations. Like I grew up mostly missing that, and so now I think that's what I was looking at when I was there, was like, wait, this is like, I use it as like an older person, but I'm also worried about generations that can't be present and here because they're programmed to see a phone and know that they're
into the phone
a dopamine
versus
cycle
being in the
there.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see that a lot. Like you see people are glued to their phones. There can be like concerts, right? People are more into their phones versus just being at the concert and being at the moment and getting that
Absolutely,
experience.
it's a mess.
So it has changed
like
a lot.
Coachella, it's just everyone's phone is up, and I'm like, is anyone dancing? Is anyone like actually in the moment? Like we have to record it all, It's a bummer.
Did you know you was going to do therapy right away when you realized that you wanted to do something different, or did that take time?
Well, I would say it was like after about a year and a half after my sister passed, I went on a retreat called the Hoffman process. And once I had really worked through a lot of my childhood stuff, as well as the grief, started kind of just talking about it more openly. I cleared enough of the gunk out that my purpose kind of rose. And I had really supported my sister since she was a teenager in the mental health system, and was her advocate and her really like guardian for a lot of that experience. That when I was in the hospital system, they were always like, do you work in the field? You should consider it. And I was like, no, like I don't work in the field. And it was too triggering for me at the time. I was like, I'm just trying to help her like get through life right now and get out of here. And then when I actually went to this retreat experience, I realized I wanted to become a therapist. And having worked with the somatic practitioner that I was referred out to, I realized that work was really where the juice was at in terms of like effectiveness. And so it took time. I think you can't sometimes like jump into doing that role as a practitioner until you've really healed your stuff, because stuff comes up with like clients that have similar backgrounds or traumas, and you have to really keep your system clear and process stuff that comes up for you outside of the session, so you're not like clouding the signal between you and another client.
Looking back now, what do you believe God was preparing you for all along?
I've been asking myself that question a little bit, because I'm like, why did I do so many years in tech? And I worked in partnerships and nonprofit partnerships, and then creator partnerships, and all at Meta. And I think it was, or God was trying to show me the importance of connection and how technology can be helpful. In my own personal experience, I think it was, you've done the corporate life, it's time to be your realest self. So when I was at work, only a few people at work actually knew the whole me. I like hid parts of myself. And now as I've healed, I've realized that like God was saying, it's okay now to be your full self. And now that you've like, gotten the foundations and done the thing, you can do what you actually want to do. And I needed to like have that financial stability to move into this field, because a lot of corporate work provides safety and like consistent benefits and pay. But now I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it to do my calling. So I think God was preparing me to maybe straddle two different worlds of helping people have the bravery to actually be their fullest version of themselves, which might not be a tech worker. It might be someone that's like an artist, or, maybe they don't feel safe to be their fullest self at work. Like, I think God wanted me to know what that felt like, and then to step into my calling, which is to help people remember themselves and release what they don't need to hold anymore. And I do want to help people that are working in tech, because I understand their world. And I'm still trying to figure out the partnerships piece, but like, I want to be able to scale this therapy out somehow, because I think the world needs to know more about it, whether that's educating on Instagram about it, or just being able to point people to resources and accounts that are also doing this work. Like, there's really amazing people that I've also connected with that live in different countries that are doing somatic healing work, and I'm like, yes, keep going, because we need more of this.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I can be here another 2 hours with you, but I appreciate you so much for being here today.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on Dope Testimony TV. It really is a pleasure to have you here, and thank you for just healing the world and getting out the information and you know, doing your calling. I feel like you're living in your purpose now, like with everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
So I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me here, and you're also doing your purpose by showcasing people stepping into their purpose. So
thank you.
I appreciate it, and I would say too, it's like I'm just helping people heal themselves really under safety, but it's like I'm really grateful to be in the role of a practitioner and being able to help people come back to their fullest self. Because I think a lot of trauma fragments you, and the whole point of life is to like recover those parts back and express yourself.
Nice.
So
perfect.
That's the work.
Before we go, would you like to tell people where they can find you?
Oh my gosh, yes. So I have a Substack right now, and I talk about somatic therapy. It's called Soleil Poetry, like the sun. And I also have an Instagram, Nemecam23.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. And there's information there about my offerings.
All right, perfect.
Yep.
Well, again, thank you so much.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
you. And that's another episode of Dope Testimony TV. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Talk to you soon.
This is Dope Testimony TV.
All right, one more. You say your name. Hi. No, you good.
Hi, I'm Amanda Nemec, and this is Dope Testimony TV.